Hi, this is Michelle from Layers of Learning. It is so good to be here talking to you again. I want to talk today about the Layers of Learning worldview, the way that the curriculum is written, the slant that we come from. So, a lot of people ask us if Layers of Learning is a Christian curriculum. And the answer is no, it's really not. That doesn't mean it's secular, though. What we try to do instead is make it a neutral curriculum. And that means that we don't inject our philosophy or our beliefs into the curriculum. What we do instead is we ask questions and then have the parents and children, or the mentors and the children, the teachers, ask the children these questions and have discussions with them so that it is parents who are shaping the worldview of their children instead of the school, the teacher, or the curriculum company. The reason that we wrote Layers of Learning this way was because we firmly believe it should be parents in that role and not a curriculum company. We started writing Layers of Learning in 2008. And at that time, everything was either strongly Christian or strongly secular. And I don't think a whole lot has changed in the intervening years. Most curriculum that you find are going to be one or the other, especially, in the United States. And we felt like that's a mistake, that it's the wrong trend. And we would like to see a trend going back towards a more neutral educational tone. I think education used to be more neutral, and maybe part of that is just that America used to have a much more cohesive culture. We weren't nearly so divided as we are now, and so it was easier to have something that felt neutral. But we have found it's not actually that hard. When you're making an effort to keep your own worldview, your own biases out of the curriculum, you can succeed at least to some degree. No human being can actually be completely unbiased. But there is a vast difference between someone who is trying to sell you on something, someone who is injecting their own belief system into something, and someone who is making an effort to be neutral. And we have made an effort to be neutral. So the problem is that even though Karen and I are personally Christians, we know that there are as many brands of Christianity as there are congregations, or perhaps as there are people. So even if it was a Christian curriculum, it still probably wouldn't be your Christian curriculum. And of course, we believe that Buddhists and Muslims and secular people and people of all kinds of faiths and beliefs should be able to give their children a great education and have every right to teach their children from their own point of view, in their own worldview. So our philosophy is basically that we want critical thinking to be built into the program. We don't like information just being fed to kids without any kind of nuance. In school, the model is to read the textbook, answer the questions, and get an A. There is no room for discussion or variables of opinion, or even children being allowed to question. It's very much about, this is the authority and you will follow it. We don't like that kind of a paradigm. We like children that are able to question and think and logically come to conclusions. We believe that it's way more important to know how to analyze information than it is to receive the information in the first place. It doesn't make any difference whether you ever learn about ancient Egypt or not. What matters is that you're learning about how human beings behave, how human beings treat one another, how human beings are great and how they are horrible, and then to be able to apply that to what you see in your personal life and in the news around the world today, right now. And so that's the point of teaching history, and that's also the point of teaching science, and that's also the point of teaching geography and arts, is to analyze us as human beings. And if we inject our worldview into the curriculum, we defeat that purpose. And so we're not a Christian curriculum, and we're not a secular curriculum. We're a neutral curriculum as far as we are able to be. And that means that schools and charter schools, and as well as parents and Christian schools, anybody can use this curriculum. And if you want to make it into a curriculum that indoctrinates children instead of allowing them the freedom of exploration and knowledge and questioning, then you certainly can. But we don't think that will happen a whole lot, because all through the curriculum, in the sidebars and in the explorations, we make it so that you're having to ask questions and have discussions together. Of course, you can tell your children what to think, but you will be doing them a disservice if you do that. So hopefully, because of the way the whole curriculum is built, the philosophy shines through and kids will be getting a better, more well-rounded worldview. They will be able to think for themselves. This is important, not only because we don't want to inject a certain point of view or indoctrination into children. It's also important because you cannot possibly anticipate every moral dilemma that your child will have once he or she is grown. You cannot possibly anticipate what the world's going to be like in 5 or 10 years. You have no idea what new technology or philosophies or events will be shaping our world in that time. And if your children can't think, if they only know what to think about what you have told them, then they will be ill-equipped for handling anything new that comes along. And I think that most of us can see at this point that there's new stuff coming along nearly every day. So I don't think it's safe. I don't think it's wise to teach your children only to respond to what you have taught them. They have to be able to respond to anything that comes along. And so you have to teach them to think critically. You have to teach them to form their own worldview. They cannot rely on what their parents have taught them. They must rely on their own moral compass and their own inner belief system. And that belief system, I think every parent that uses layers of learning loves their child and wants their child to succeed at life and to be happy. And it's not possible to do that if you're making bad decisions constantly. And you can't make good decisions based on someone else's worldview, someone else's moral compass. It has to be your own. And so if you teach your children with the questions, and if you have discussions and help them to analyze things, help them to make connections between the past and the future, between technology and their daily life, if you help them make these connections, then they'll be much more equipped to handle real life and to be happy. And I hope that helps you understand the layers of learning worldview and why we have written it the way we have written it. And have fun learning. Layers of Learning is a homeschool curriculum company. We create hands-on and literature-based lessons in history, geography, science, arts, and language arts. Check us out at layersoflearning.com and on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. Have fun learning!